Hey guys, this is Gatsby with Tape, and today you join me on the runway with a brand new plane for Collaborative Warfare. Yes, this is yet another Collaborative Warfare extra videos. I like doing these, it just shows you kind of my process. And this is the HSI Mark II. Yes, I'm working on a new high-speed interceptor. This is the very kind of first model, unarmed and things. And I'm just taking it for a quick flight test, just buzz it around the KSC, see how fast I can get it in the lower atmosphere, that sort of thing. And you'll notice that it has two engines. Yes, indeedy. It looks pretty much nothing like the HSI Mark II, but basically, if I were to implement this, it would take over its role as kind of more of a fighter and a bit of a ground attack vehicle, kind of general sort of thing. But yeah, you can see it handles pretty well, and the thing about it is maybe it's not quite as nippy as the HSI Mark I because it's a lot heavier, but the thing is because it has two engines, it can recover from losing velocity much more quickly, which is kind of a good thing, because if you take a turn, lose all your velocity, and then you're just sitting there dead while you know, stuff tries to shoot you. Anyway, the only problem with this variant is as I speed up, one of my engines flames out. That's kind of fine because I can still fly with one engine, but would be kind of annoying if I was trying to get away quickly and then my engine flames out, and then I don't outrun that missile. So yes, I'm just going to see if I can reproduce that error by climbing up and diving down. I'm pretty sure it's a speed thing, so I am just going to see if I can just dive, go as like kind of Mach 1-ish, and see if the engine flames out again. And if it can, if it does, I'm pretty sure it's because I'm using those terrible little air intakes, those radial kind of structural pieces of terribleness. They're not really very good for anything. And yeah, it happens again. So, not great. Anyway, I will continue with this test and see if it lands, because I won't need to be going this fast to land. I'm sorry, I still have a bit of a cough. That might be a staple of this video. Anyway, you don't need to see me turning around and lining up. It's relatively easy. It's pretty, you know, nice plane to fly. The wing setup's actually kind of a little bit like the F-35? I don't know, the new American jet that's coming in that's terrible. Yeah, but I think this is going to be much better than the F-35. It's not a multi-role, it's... Well, actually the HSIs, they kind of are, because I actually have a plane in the works for just dogfighting. And this... it's more... I don't know, it's kind of like the MPAV Raptor, but without the VTOL capability. It's just, I don't know, it's hard to define exactly what these HSIs are. I call them interceptors because it sounds cool. But anyway, we're about to touch down on the runway, and it's actually alright. It's a little bumpy because those wheels at the back are kind of crap, but it's not that bad, and it's pretty nice. And you can see I've used those two tail planes as air brakes, so I don't actually have to carry air brakes, which is kind of nice. Anyway, I tried some scaled down, you know, like the silvery radial intakes, but the engines keep flaming out again. I'm pretty sure it's the amount of intake air I'm getting, so I'm just going to use some full-sized ones, just not in the same position, because it'd look kind of dumb there, and I don't want to destroy the profile of the plane. Anyway, I've mounted just a couple of normal-sized radials on the bottom, as you can just about see, and you can see the speed is fine. I'm at about 2 kilometers, going almost infinite speed. And yeah, it's actually super effective. This is obviously very inefficient. I think it's using like 5, and then it explodes. Yeah, it was using about like 5 units of fuel every second. Also, it explodes. That's quite a serious problem. But yeah, I obviously totally managed to land this and don't cut ahead because it actually hit that mountain. Anyway, so this is the gunned variant. I've actually moved the air intakes onto the top so they won't be shot off by turrets. And they look slightly better there. I've got an AI flight computer, the BD Armory thing. This is carrying 4 Sidewinder missiles and has 2 Vulcan turrets. No, Vulcan cannons, the non-movie ones. Obviously, the Sidewinders could be changed out for like Hellfires or maybe even Mavericks if I was feeling brave. But yeah, I just pop them away quite quickly and then just take a little buzz around the Space Center, shoot it up, shoot at some stuff. We don't like the Space Center. It's where Twitchy lives. And, you know, Twitchy is evil and stuff. So, yeah, it actually flies really well. You can see it kind of... I don't think it does turn as fast as the HSI, as I've said, but it can turn for longer. But we can to take all this conjecture, but if I'm going to replace a plane, I need to test it against the other plane that it will be replacing. So... maybe after shooting up the KSC in a little bit, maybe I should actually pitch it against the HSI Mark I. Maybe we should have a dogfight. I'm going to relatively extensively test this. Firstly, I'm going to fly this against an HSI Mark I to get a feel of what it's like for me, because obviously most of the time I'm going to be flying it. And then I'm going to fly the HSI Mark I against it and maybe pit them together in a AI versus AI, kind of apples to apples sort of thing. Anyway, HSI is in the air, using the flight computer. Oh my god. It pops off 2 Sidewinder missiles at me, and I dodge them with ease. Well, just about, and managed to pull up because I have all of the thrust. 1 minute. We are having some technical issues with the aliveness of our commentator today, so I thought I'd just do a quick public service announcement to tell you to join the Territorial Arctic Protection Entente Air Force, and also thank you to Jeffrey the Sheep for all the wonderful fan art you've been doing. I absolutely love fucking all of it. Thank you very much. Now let's go back to the fighting. Sorry, I have a bit of a horrible cough for like 3 days. Anyway, it looked like it may have sprayed some gunfire at me, but it was fine. And I get really close, a really nice beauty shot of me flying right past it. And I'm gonna try and shoot it down, obviously, but the main test is if I can keep behind it, because basically often, unless you're a really good pilot, dogfights just turn into turning matches, and I think this will be able to more consistently turn. Obviously that can get behind me now, but now it's lost almost all of its velocity, so it can't keep up, so then I catch it up again. It has a tighter turning circle, but I have a more consistent turning circle, so I actually think that might be better. And I think I'm about to get really close to it right now, and I'm going to try and gun it, obviously. Not great, and I'm kind of spraying a bit randomly, because it's actually quite hard to do this sort of thing, but I get my guns really close to it. If I was a better pilot, it probably would have been shot down by now, and you can see how close I get here, just like buzz past it. I really like those shots of the AI flights. I haven't fired my Sidewinder missiles, because obviously this test is more about how well it turns against it. And you can see I'm holding velocity relatively well. Obviously it's quite a wide plane, so it does lose velocity, but it gains it like so quickly because those 2 turbojets are really great. The other thing about having 2 engines is if you lose one, you still have an engine. If you shoot off the HSI's engine, fucked. It just hits the ground. Maybe glides, but it'll probably kill it before that. But if you have 2 engines, you can lose one, and this does fly without 1 engine, especially with the new aerodynamic model. It makes it really easy to fly with 1 engine, which is really nice, because that is quite an important thing to do in a dogfight. Well, hopefully you won't lose the engine, and if I did, I'd probably just try and like get out of there. Oh, look how close I get there. But you can see it's just losing all its velocity and is arcing back down, whereas I can climb faster than it. So, well, I didn't try this here, but I would actually be able to climb above it and dive bomb it, which is actually, you know, pretty important. The HSI isn't actually getting any shots at me, obviously, because its computer's more less easy with shooting like me. But you can see those shots were pretty close. I'm doing pretty well. I mean, if maybe a couple of them landed, it would look much better. But I think I'm actually out of ammo now because I'm not that great a shot. But I am going to fire my missiles, but they went too quickly. And the HSI is obviously relatively good at dodging missiles. The only problem is when it's more than about 2 or 3, it just can't. It does there because I didn't. It does a very good job of dodging here. It really doesn't put my point forward. I'm just going to drink some water so I don't keep coughing. But you can see in this kind of sort of ballet, I am actually outpacing it, which is good because I really thought that this might be too bulky to outdo it. But yeah, I'm just looking at this, and it still does have all of its ammo, because, well, just because it hasn't fired any. So I'm just basically escaping now, because other than like trying to punch it with my wing, I'm not going to have much luck. But it looks like the HSI is squaring up to me now, and I want to see just how quick this can be to dodge. You can, oh yeah, now it's actually started firing at me. But you can see I'm just escaping so quickly that it can't get an accurate shot. So, if you are totally inept like me, or adept, one of them's good, one of them's bad. If you're a terrible pilot, then you can escape when you inevitably fail to kill the enemy plane. So, I'm actually thinking the HSI Mark II is kind of looking pretty good. I thought it would take a little more development, but I just quite like it. Anyway, next test. AI versus AI. This was totally unfair because I took off the HSI Mark I way later, but anyway, it's all set up and going now, and I'm having to manually pop flares for some reason, not sure what that's about, but the missiles are coming in. It obviously dodges the first few, but the last one just really gets it because it's lost too much velocity to effectively... Oh no, this isn't the one I'm thinking of. Okay, well, Okay, it dodges all the missiles very effectively, but then gets gunned so easily. It's because it spent all of its velocity that it already had dodging those missiles. The plane can, the HSI Mark II can come around and just gun it. And you can see this is just wrecked now. So, yeah, that again kind of takes my point to be a little more that maintaining velocity is really important in air combat. I don't know if you can hear my kind of point-making hand slaps, but yeah. You've really got to maintain velocity, or you will die, like that guy. This isn't a simulation. He's dead for not being good enough, or for picking the wrong plane. Anyway, so I'm flying the HSI Mark I now. I want to get a feel of what it's like to fight an HSI Mark II. Obviously, this has more missiles, so this is actually not a particularly fair test, because that just has more missiles. But the HSI has no problem dodging a few of them. However, the Mark II still has one left, and I've lost most of my velocity trying to turn and get killed. So I think in air combat, HSI Mark II is much better. I will be testing it out in ground combat later. But anyway, next thing I'm looking at is it has quite a wide body, unlike the HSI Mark I. So I wanted to turn it into a VTOL. However, it's really heavy, so it can't actually VTOL with 4 engines. It can with 6. I have tried that, but it's not on video. But it can take off very, very slowly with these. So this might actually be a relatively good variant for landing on very short runways, maybe aircraft carriers. It is obviously incredibly heavy now, but yeah, it could be a very versatile thing. But I think, although right now when I fire my missiles, something not so great happens. There we go. Anyway, I think this could be a really good plane. I think it's just better for air combat, and I think I've kind of proved today that it's probably going to outpace the HSI Mark I, and I might actually implement it because I really do like it. I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.